The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Make sure y'all sign that petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org/p/get-donald-trump-off-twitter. Lays out exactly why you should be removed from the platform. You digs? Now check this out though. The Justice Department under Attorney General William Barr has actually opened up a criminal investigation into the origins of the Russian investigation. You know, the infamous, or I won't say infamous, but the Robert Mueller report, which took up a lot of the Trump presidency, which happened during a lot of the Trump presidency. And it's crazy because it gives William Barr the power to, and the Justice Department, the power to like subpoena anybody, a witness or whatever, and to actually like file criminal charges regarding this shit. So the crazy thing is, one, it shows that the Department of Justice, which is supposed to be an independent entity, clearly is not. And two, it really begs the question that, answers the question that Abby Phillips, the CNN reporter, had asked Trump when she was like, well, is this about, are you hiring Attorney General William Barr? Is he supposed to rein in the Robert Mueller investigation? And he was just responsible to her was highly disrespectful to a black woman, talking about like, that's such a stupid question. Like, and you ask a lot of stupid questions. He said that shit like straight fucking disrespect. And it turns out that's exactly what he was trying to do. Now they're trying to discredit the Robert Mueller. Under what grounds? Green War graduation though. Fuck. We'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So despite Trump saying that he was trying to withdraw troops from Syria, but he's just gonna leave a couple for the oil fields out there, now he's actually sending hundreds of troops out there to Syria, specifically to Deir ez-Zor, which is a city out there, and for the purpose of guarding these guarding these oil fields that are actually run by U.S. fossil fuel giant Conoco. This has been confirmed by CNN as well as White Fox News, you know what I'm saying? Which actually says the move appears likely. So there's still going to be U.S. troops out there. So all of this shit is like, for what? This seems to be just some bullshit that's getting reported in the media, man. But that's what's happening, though. At least y'all know what they're saying is supposed to happen. Y'all can draw your own conclusions, or listen to the ones I'll draw in these messages and shit. Green War and graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the United Nations is actually sending a team out to Chile to investigate human rights abuses. Now, there have been a lot of allegations of brutality and torture against anti-government protesters ever since protests erupted on October 19th when Sebastian Piñera, the presidente, actually initiated a subway fee hike that people were against, but then, you know, protests evolved even after he took away that hike to protesting against, like, you know, inequality, low wages, high costs, privatization, the high cost of, like, you know, healthcare and education and all of that. So we'll see what happens. It's been ever since October 19th. It said that 18 people have actually died, several having for sure been killed by police and militia. Green War and graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Ecuador, now I told y'all about how anti-austerity protests were going on over in Ecuador, right? When I say on anti-austerity, I'm talking about Ecuadorian President Lenin Moreno actually was pushed via the International Monetary Fund, was pushing this package where they would receive a $4.2 billion loan, but in exchange for that, they were actually going to get rid of these fuel subsidies, which caused fuel prices to rise by like 120%. So it caused outrage over a couple weeks out there in Ecuador, people dying and everything, whatever. But nevertheless, after weeks of protest, Moreno actually canceled that package. And then they even formed a coalition where indigenous leaders were going to negotiate with Moreno on how to restore Ecuador's economy. Well, the indigenous leaders have halted those negotiations due to the government's persecution of Jaime Vargas, who's the head of Indigenous Nationalities of Ecuador, or CONAIE, which is the acronym in Spanish over there, whatever. And the indigenous leader that was actually responsible, he was the head of the organization that's said to have led those anti-austerity protests. So, we'll see what happens with that. Green Wall and graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Rocks News Report. So over in Bolivia, current President Evo Morales actually claimed victory in the presidential election, giving him a 4th term. Now, I told y'all the other day about how people are saying that this shit was rigged, basically. Official figures have him at 47% of the vote in a 9-candidate field, where just 10 more points than his opponent, Carlos Mesa, former president of Bolivia. But then they had shut down voting for 24 hours, and then all of a sudden he was just way far ahead of Mesa. So, of course, Mesa's calling it a gigantic fraud. And the reality is they are going to have voting in like 5 different regions next month, but it won't be enough to trigger a December runoff. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. It seems shiesty. Green Wall and graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Western Africa, in Guinea, actually in the capital Kapangu, they actually had tens of thousands of people that were actually protesting, and have been doing so for some time. Definitely was last week or whatever. They're putting in demonstrations because there's been a constitutional change proposed that would allow current President Alpha Conde to run for a 3rd term. So people are up in arms about that. This week's protest, it was kind of like, it was heavily guarded by police, but it was peaceful. Unlike what happened last week during like the smaller demonstrations that actually resulted in police having to open fire on protesters, killing 9 protesters. You know what I'm saying? Then after the fact, after the protest quelled, you had police making arrests on like dozens of like political opposition leaders and civil rights leaders. So that's what's going down. We'll see how this turns out. Green Wall and graduation. This report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So House of Representatives member, Congress member Elijah Cummings, who passed last week actually at the age of 68, African American, started off as a civil rights leader, and then was also a Maryland state representative advocating for the rights of our people. You feel me? Until and then ended up being elected to be the representative, the state representative. The U.S. representative, pardon me, for the Baltimore district. 13 times he was elected to play that role or whatever. But nevertheless, it's a sad day in politics in a Black community, definitely in Baltimore, the place that Trump called a rat and rodent infested city. Like, it ain't part of his country, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they laid his body to rest at the U.S. Capitol. So they're having his funeral today. Barack Obama and Bill Clinton supposed to be speaking there. You know what I mean? Hopefully we get more great people like that to play that role in politics, because politics is corrupt as fuck. Green Wall and graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So former Vice President and 2020 presidential hopeful for the Democrat side, Joe Biden, actually reversed his pledge not to accept money from super PACs. PACs being political action committees. So super PACs being super political action committees, basically where the elite essentially hide behind the names of these super PACs so that they could give big money to presidential candidates or just political candidates, period. And a lot of people see that as like being a means of like controlling the candidates and controlling the outcome of policies that may come as a result of this person being in office. So a lot of people slammed the move. I mean, he's being accused of already, accepting like money from, the fossil fuel industry and pharmaceutical industry. So, but, I asked, like, what the fuck did y'all expect? You know what I'm saying? The dude had his first opening campaign announcement at like the house of the owner of Comcast. You know what I'm saying? Where they was charging, like, I think like thousands of a ticket just to even be in the venue. You know what I'm saying? Like, Holmes got leaders written all over him. Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So in Newark, New Jersey, downtown, there were actually a bunch of activists that formed a blockade in the middle of traffic, blocking some serious traffic. You could call it a peaceful protest, but shit, I'm from Jersey City. We right next door to North. I know the area they talking about. Causing traffic there, that's not peaceful. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. Dozens of protesters were arrested for this. One protester basically said out loud how they're calling for the undocumented immigrants have been waiting 15 years for access to driver's licenses, and enough is enough. It's a major reason why ICE agents are even able to arrest immigrants that are undocumented and then deport them. So it's putting them in danger. And so there was called for the demand for New Jersey as a whole to allow giving licenses to undocumented immigrants. So far, there are 13 U.S. states and Puerto Rico allow for licenses to be given to people regardless of their immigration status. Green Wall and Graduation. What other do we'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So Brandon Taubman, he's actually an assistant manager for the Houston Astros, who are playing in the World Series currently, was actually fired yesterday due to what happened last week when he basically he yelled in the face of Sports Illustrated reporter Stephanie Epstein and two other female reporters. Thank God we got Osuna. I'm so fucking glad we got Osuna. Now, he's referring to Robert Osuna, the relief pitcher that they acquired from the Toronto Blue Jays back in 2018, days after he was handed a 75-game suspension due to violating the league's domestic violence policy in Major League Baseball. So, while he said this, the chick Epstein, she was actually wearing a domestic violence like ribbon or garment, you know what I'm saying, so, you know, clearly like a slight protest against it or whatever. So yeah, he's fired. I mean, he should go. It's kind of unprofessional of him to do that. It's kind of immature. I'm sure he'll learn. He might not be a monster, he's just fucking immature, you know what I'm saying? Or he might be a monster. Either way, he deserves to be fired. Green Wall and Graduation. What other new? We'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So the Major League Baseball MLB is actually reviewing the status of one of its senior umpires, Bob Drake, who on his Twitter account says the other night, "We'll be buying my AR-15 tomorrow because if you think you're going to impeach my president this way," all caps was my president, and then he goes all caps, "you will have another civil war." And he spelled civil wrong, but hashtag MAGA 2020. Like, yo, these Trump fanatics are exactly that. You know what I'm saying? These aren't even sensible people. Like, why do you think you could put that out as a status in these days and times? And why would you want to wage war against a political process? You're waging war against the rules of your own country. If you don't like it, y'all should go back to fucking Europe. Green Wall and Graduation. We'll go to Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Yo, a bunch of wildfires jumped off all across California due to the bone dry conditions and high winds. As scientists have said, like, that's what's going to cause a lot of wildfires over there. Now, and then the people want to criticize California for trying to go green. Like, that's insane. But you got shit like this happening, you got to make a move. So you actually have the tick fire cutting across southern Cali. Consumed like 3,000 acres in a matter of hours, and you forcing thousands to flee from their homes and all of that. And then you also had the Kincaid fire, the 10,000 acre Kincaid fire of Sonoma County going on in northern Cali. That tick fire being like just north of LA, and you're talking about it's 9 active fires going on right now. So keep them people in your thoughts until Green Wall and Graduation. What other new world? Go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So in South Dakota, environmentalists are actually declaring victory because the state's Republican governor and attorney general have agreed to essentially not enforce the laws that allow for draconian fines and prison terms to be given to protesters of these gas and oil pipelines, most notably the Keystone XL pipeline, which has gotten a lot of resistance out there. People were facing up to 25 years dealing with this shit under the riot opposing act. Well, I might be saying it wrong. It might be the Opposing Riot Act. Nevertheless, this was actually a win for the ACLU. I mean, they sued, and they actually even put out a tweet saying, like, let this be a lesson to other states. If you criminalize protest, we will sue. See how this pans out, though. Green Wall and graduation. So the New World Order, Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the Trump administration, or better yet, the Department of Education's top student loan official, A. Wayne Johnson, actually had a high-profile resignation the other day, basically dedicating he says he's going to dedicate his life to getting rid of the $1 trillion federal student loan debt. The private student loan debt is a whole nother story, but at least the federally administered one. He said he's actually going to promote a plan that's going to forgive up to $50,000 for students with federal student loans, which will equal out to about $925 billion apparently. So we'll see if he puts his money or his time where his mouth is. I mean, he did tell the Wall Street Journal that that basically this insanity has to stop. Like, the time has come for this insanity to stop. So we'll see if he holds true to that. Green Wall and graduation. We'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Education, Department of Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, or DeVos, however you pronounce her name, actually was held in contempt of court and ruled that by a federal judge, where she basically accused of not showing up to court for a violation that includes continuing to accept student loan debt from former students of the Corinthian colleges. Now, back in 2014, the Corinthian colleges were actually collapsed amid government scrutiny of its fraud and predatory lending practices. So we're talking about 60,000 students that were supposed to be relieved of their debt because they didn't even have anything to show for it anyway. And apparently the education department has still been collecting checks from these people. So Betsy DeVos will not face any jail time, but the Department of Education will be fined $100 grand. Green Wall graduation.
So far up.